Hi everyone, welcome back to HGTV Handmade. So, it is Thursday, which normally means it would be Throwback Thursday, but we're always looking to mix it up, so today we are trying something new. And so today is the first installment of Q&A Thursday. For the next month, every Thursday, one of us from HGTV Handmade will be doing a Q&A video with questions from you guys, so let us know in the comments if you like this type of video, and we're listening to you guys, so let's get started because I am up first. So I put up a call for questions on Instagram, and you guys left some really good questions. So first up, we've got Noran Allah. Sorry, I'm gonna be so bad at pronouncing usernames, but they want to know how to start doing crafts and DIYs with little supplies. Well, the first thing is to try to gather as many supplies as you can, you know, just really basic stuff like scissors, tape, glue, just, you know, stuff that you'll probably need for a huge variety of crafts. Look for supplies that you can kind of buy in bulk and use for a ton of different projects. Like if you can get some cheap paint, buy like the quart, that'll last you way longer than getting more expensive paint in a tiny little bottle. And for most craft projects, like, it'll look exactly the same. For stuff like patterned paper, you can always draw out patterns yourself on plain paper, or you can photocopy patterns to get much cheaper patterned paper, and just try to be realistic about the types of crafts that you are attempting. If you see some massive project on Pinterest that takes up like an entire wall, maybe you don't have the resources right now to recreate that, but maybe you can be inspired by it and make a little, you know, framed version of it that takes up a little less room and uses less materials. Also, don't be afraid to ask around and see if anyone has craft supplies that they're not using anymore that they could just give you. The drifter in me wants to know how I went from typography and graphic design into doing crafting for HGTV. I feel like this is kind of a misconception with me because I've been doing crafting on YouTube like basically since I started my channel and since I started regularly posting videos. Like, this was my first DIY that I ever posted to the internet, and it predated a lot of my graphic design videos. So it is true that I am kind of posting less graphic design videos and kind of more of the crafting videos, but that's just what I'm enjoying right now, so I hope you guys like it, and if you don't, I mean, there are tons of other graphic design resources on the internet. It's not just me, so I'm sure you can find some other stuff that you like. Cece Bauer wants to know what is my setup for photographing craft and design projects, and I'll be honest with you guys, I am kind of the worst at this. I have a Canon T3i, which I'm filming on right now as my main camera, and honestly, just having such a nice camera makes photographing my projects a lot easier because I literally leave everything on auto. I took so many photography classes in college and like I know the ins and outs of doing custom whatever, but for my own workflow I just prefer to shoot everything on auto and then adjust it in Photoshop or Premiere later on to kind of adjust the colors and all that. Buxy Bar wants to know what is one area of the craft world that I've always been a little scared to try and why, and that would probably be sewing with a sewing machine. I've been meaning to buy a sewing machine for years now and I just haven't done it because they're kind of expensive and I don't really have a good place to put it and I don't really have time to invest into like learning the ins and outs of it right now. But at some point in my life I will get a sewing machine and then I'm just gonna be like, why did I not buy one of these earlier? Because it would have made so many projects go so much faster. And I also just want to give a shout out to Danita, who asked me a question about sewing, and yes, I like sewing. I love crafts that involve hand sewing. I just do not own a sewing machine, so at some point you'll probably get more sewing crafts from me, but not today. Jamie Ease wants to know what section of the craft store I can never pass up, the aisle that always sucks me in. That would probably be the paper aisle, like all the scrapbook papers, because each sheet is so cheap, they're like less than $1, but then I'll buy like 20 and then also a pad of scrapbook paper that's like half off but is still like $10, and then also a bunch of other things, and then before I know it I spent a ton of money. But yeah, I love looking at all the different papers, the textures, the patterns, and it's my favorite. I wish I could go there right now. Raw Origami wants to know, how do you cut cleanly with an X-Acto knife? The trick to this is just making sure that you have a new blade, that you're not working with a dull blade. Just like Marianne told us last week with her pineapple salsa video, if you're cutting with a dull blade on really anything like a pineapple or just like paper, it's much easier to slip and to actually hurt yourself, and you're not going to get a very clean cut. So replacement blades are super cheap. Just have a whole bunch on hand, and whenever your blade is getting dull and it's getting hard to cut, just replace it, and it takes like 30 seconds. If you want more X-Acto knife tips, I made a video on my main channel a while ago, probably like more than a year ago, but I still think it's good. I think I gave you guys some good advice with learning how to use an X-Acto knife, so I'll link that down below if you want to see it. Planet Pescateria wants to know what has been my favorite DIY that I've done on HGTV Handmade, and you like my donut shoes. I like my donut shoes too, but I think my favorite project might have to be those little cupcake pinwheels that I made last year. I just think they came out so cute, and the photography ended up beautiful because it was so colorful that my camera just picked it up really well, and yeah, I just still think they're adorable. Water Lily 1988 wants to know, who's that creeping over my shoulder? That would be Bobble John. It is a bobblehead of YouTuber and author John Green. I bought this years ago. They sold them for his birthday, and I think they made like 1,000 of them, and I bought one. And I'm just so happy that I did, because I think he's so funny, and I've dressed him up for so many holidays, and yeah, he's my favorite. Unfortunately, last time I moved, I dropped him and his head fell off, so now there's like a crack in his neck, and it's not quite straight, but it's fine. And then finally, our last question of the day. Kaylin Cake wants to know who some of my favorite YouTubers are. I am obsessed with Mr. Kate. We actually had her on HGTV Handmade for a Q&A video with her last year. I love Florida Force. I love her haul videos and her beauty videos. I'm really hoping I can meet her at VidCon. Crossing my fingers on that. And I'm such a big fan of what Lauren Fairweather has been doing with her channel. I've known Lauren since 2007, 2008, it's been a long time now, and her crafts are all super adorable. So that's going to be it for my Q&A video, but we're gonna do kind of a fun thing where at the end of our video we're gonna ask a question for the next Q&A video. So Meg is going to be up next, and my question for Meg is, if you could do a supermarket sweep style shopping spree of the craft store, which aisle would you start in? So besides that question, Meg will also be answering questions from you guys. You can leave questions for Meg down in the comments. Since mine was first, I did them on Instagram, but in the future we'll all leave questions for the next Q&A in the comments of the current Q&A. Does that make sense? Alright, I don't want this video to get too crazy long, but thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think of this Q&A video idea, and I will see you all again next week. Bye everyone!